We're tired, America. I'm gonna be really raw and candid with you guys in this video. And I literally had to sit here before making this video and take a couple deep breaths and really think about, should I make this video or not? A lot of black people, a lot of young black kids grew up hating being black, especially young black kids who grew up in predominantly white communities like I did. I moved from New Orleans, Louisiana to a small town in California when I was in the 8th grade. And when you grow up in a predominantly white community as one of the first black people in that community, you hear a lot of racist jokes, racial things and stuff like that. And then, when you look at the television and you see black people being typecasted as criminals, people who are always having issues with the law, people who are stealing, people who are committing crimes and things like that, and those things were done on purpose, you begin to kind of be ashamed of being black, especially when you're around a lot of white people who believe the things that are being perpetuated on television. And it makes you want to kind of forget your blackness in a way, or, ignore your blackness and try to assimilate and gain proximity to whiteness. And a lot of times you'll do that by hating on your own people. There was a time in my life that I would be around black people just being black, maybe enjoying themselves, laughing and being loud or whatever. And I'd be embarrassed because, in the community that I was typically used to being in, that was ghetto. You shouldn't act that way. When I say we're tired, it is because we've realized that no matter how educated we are, no matter how successful we are, if you were to come to my small town and you asked about my family, not just myself, my wife and my daughters, but my brother, my sister, my mom, you would hear nothing but one of the best families in our community, right? All very educated, all top athletes, and still, with that, we have to deal with institutional, overt, covert, subtle racism. No matter what, it's something I've been dealing with all my life. No matter how much I do, the stature that I have elevated myself to in this community, locally, even, sometimes on a national stage, I still have to deal with comments like I talked about from my high school teacher, who, after being a 2-time All-American in college, getting a master's degree, being a straight A student, going to him, one of my former white teachers who I respected a lot, and asking him for a letter of recommendation, him insinuating that I may be getting the job because I was black. Literally handing me the letter of recommendation, saying to me, and if they're hiring you, if you're filling a quota or anything like that, don't worry about it because I think you're going to do a great job. That's what we have to deal with. Had I been a white guy who was at the top of my class, a 2-time All-American athlete, and asked another white man for a letter of recommendation, would he have said those things? Absolutely not. I've been recognized as a distinguished professor at my college, state, local coach of the year. And with all of that, I have to fight against people thinking that I may not deserve what I have. So when I see this video of this young man walking after, getting his stuff from his home, helping other people get their stuff from their homes and be accused of being a looter, it really just it kind of reawakens those wounds that I felt as a kid, because it's so easy. It is way too easy in this country to look at a video of a black person walking with stuff and then spread that and call him a looter and a criminal. And it is because of years and years of typecasting, social programming that is destroying our community. You have to understand, these are the same things that lead to police officers, putting their hand on their gun or reacting too fast when they are dealing with a black person. And every single black person has these stories. Even when I've had conversations and debates with black conservatives, they have these stories of being pulled over. In my 10th year as a professor, I got pulled over in the town where my sister was a police officer, another small town near our town. This cop walked up to my door with his hand on his gun. I was driving a pretty nice truck at the time. And I'm looking at him in my rearview mirror, and I'm afraid, because I'm thinking, this guy does not look like he is equipped to handle pulling me over. He looked afraid, and it made me afraid. So I put my hand on my steering wheel, and he comes up with his hand on his gun. And he asked me for my license. And first he asked me, did I know why he pulled me over? And I said, no, I don't. I was driving through this town because I was picking up our basketball coach from the college, because I was giving him a ride to the school because they were doing an overnight trip and he didn't want to leave his car at the school. So I was driving through the town for that. Again, my sister was a police officer in that town. Not currently at the time I was pulled over, but she had been a police officer in that town and had trained many of the police officers who were there at the time. He looks at my windshield and he finds a little dot like this big from a rock that hit the windshield. And he said, I pulled you over because of that crack in your windshield. So I get my license. I have my license, I have my registration. I don't have my proof of insurance in the car with me. I tell him, I knew that you could have your proof of insurance in your email or whatever. As long as you could get that, you're good. So I'm going through my email looking for it. And he's standing there still with his hand on his gun. And he's like, while I'm scrolling through my email, he says, are you sure you have insurance? And I said, I definitely have insurance. I'm just trying to find it in my email. And mind you, very rude, very inappropriate. And I always say, I'm probably the best person you're ever going to pull over, because I don't really have a lot of, I'm not a confrontational person and stuff. So it was kind of making me mad that he was being very rude, very disrespectful to me, while at the same time I'm literally just looking for my insurance. Another cop pulls up behind where his car was pulled up. He walks over to that cop, and the cop who had pulled me over was probably literally like 20 to 21 years old. The other cop who pulls up says, hey, I could tell they're having kind of a confrontation with each other. And the cop who pulled me over gets in his car and he leaves. The other cop walks up to my window and he says, hey, Coach D, how you doing, man? And I said, I'm good, man, And he says, hey, sorry about that. Have a good day, man. Hopefully your track team's doing well and stuff, So I leave. I go to pick up the coaches and I tell them the story. And one of the coaches, there was the head coach and the assistant coach. One of the assistant coach says to me, man, you got pulled over for a crack in your windshield? He's like, drive around the corner. I want to show you my car. He had a windshield fully cracked. He said, I've been driving around with that windshield for probably like a month in this town, and I have not been pulled over. My sister, the cop who came up and told me have a good day and everything, called my sister that night. She had left the police department and said, yeah, your brother was profiled today. I don't know. It was rough. It's rough. When I say we're tired, we are. Like, you don't understand how Black people who have done so much to become educated, successful, be good fathers, be good husbands, be good, coaches and professors and educators, police officers, firefighters, pillars of their community, who still have to have this conversation with their sons and daughters about how to act when you're pulled over, who still have to have these conversations with their sons and daughters about how to conduct themselves, because if you act too cultural, it scares people. You don't understand how many Black people have grown to hate themselves and hate the color of their skin because of what society has done to these people, to our people, to people. And it's unfortunate that a video like this surfaces, and there will be so many people who will never know that this man was not looting. There are people out there who are looting in LA. Don't get me wrong. There are going to be people looting. Those are bad people. It's what they are. But we won't have a video of a white person carrying their stuff away from their home being accused of looting. We're just tired, man. We're tired. It's exhausting. It really is. And it's unfortunate because there's so many, of us, the majority of us are good people, good citizens, pillars in our community who want exactly the same thing that every white person wants. Personally, me, I just want the best for my family. That's it. But, watching that video is hard. Seeing the things that people were saying is hard. Seeing people say that, comments that I see like the usual suspects and stuff like that. That's hard. But, I'm going to keep doing what I do. I'm going to keep being the person that I am. And, hoping that you guys, continue to take this ride with me and make this world better. I thank you guys for listening. Period.
Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in their heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.